We have already created an Azure deployment template to automatically create a Ubuntu virtual machine on the Azure and then deploy tutor on Ubuntu VM. To use this template, firstly, guarantees that you have already installed the Azure command line interface on your own local machine. Then in your terminal, log in your Azure account. Then use this command line to choose the subscription you plan to use. Next, use this command line to create a resource group in your subscription. Then execute this command line to run the template. It will require you to enter the admin username. So it will be the open admin here, and also the password. Then it will start to create a Ubuntu VM, and then install all the software you need for the deployment of OpenEdX. After successfully run the Azure deployment template, you should set up the domain name to point to your IP address. So firstly, log in your account in your GoDaddy. And then access the account that we sent you an invitation before. Then modify the first line. Change the IP address here. Go to Azure account, and under the subscription you choose to use before, there is a resource group that you created earlier. Find the VM, and here is the IP address. Copy it, paste it here. Now you have already successfully made snippstars.com points to your IP address. Now, log in your VM using your admin account. The admin account username is openadmin, and followed by the IP address copied from your Azure. Now you have already successfully logged into your VM. A shell script called deploy tutor was installed automatically. Then, next step, we should run this shell script. Choose yes. Enter the domain name without 3W. Enter yes. Then it will start deploying OpenEdX on this virtual machine, and it will take around 15 minutes. At the end of running the shell script, it will require you to enter the email address for the admin account. Now the OpenEdX has already been successfully deployed, and also an admin account has already been created. Now we are going to deploy the adapted version of LTI application to the Azure following this deployment guidance. Firstly, we will clone the repository. Then I will run the deploy.ps1 rather than run.bat because I'm using the Mac. Choose the subscription you plan to use. Choose the location. Then waiting for the deployment. At the end of the deployment, it will told you that you have already successfully deployed, and also there is a toll registration URL. It is necessary for the next step. To follow this configuration tutorial, firstly sign into OpenEdX Studio with admin account. So I'm going to create a new course. Add the LTI consumer. Then go CMS admin panel. Enable it. Then in the LMS admin panel, and then fill in this registration page with the URL copied from here. Now it has already been saved successfully. Then we need to publish this unit. Now the LTI application has been successfully configured to OpenEdX, and you can modify these fields to whatever you want and publish it.
Now I will use deployment guidance for our second solution. This solution is designed for the developers that need to deploy the OpenEDX from scratch. To modify the code, we need to fork Xblock LTI consumer repository to our own. Then find the value.python file. Find the code that we need to modify. Follow the guidance. Add the code in the right place. Then commit the code. After deploying the OpenEDX through Quickstar template as explained before, we now can connect it remotely using public IP address. After importing the password, now you can see the VM has been connected successfully. The code follow the guidance to execute the command. After a few minutes, we can see the command execute successfully. Now start to execute another command. Add platform EDX repository. Change the link here to our fork link and change the version of it to .9. After change the command, save the file. Then rebuild the image. After building around 40 minutes, the image has been built successfully. And then total local stop and quick start again. After total local stop, total local quick start again. After total local quick start, the customer OpenEDX has been deployed successfully. For the second solution, we will deploy the initial version of LTI application from Microsoft LTI repository directory. The progress to deploy LTI is the same as the solution 1. In the cloned repository, inside the deployment directory learn LTI, execute the file run. After waiting around 15 minutes, the configuration link will be output. and then accessed it to see the registration form. The parameters listed here need to be used in OpenEDX. Now, access to the snipstar again. Customer OpenEDX will not change any content in the OpenEDX. Using parameters of the initial version of LTI to public the new unit. After logging with the account in Agile AAD, we can see now the name has been split into given name and family name, and can see the Microsoft link content successfully.